Well, Tasha and Russell, they both love reading books. Tasha and Russell, they both love reading books. Well, what do you do when you share such a love?
Welcome to the
Well, you start a
111th
club, you
episode of
start a
the
club, an
ABC
adult
Pod, the
book club,
Adult
an
Book Club
adult
with
book
Taja and Russell. I am
club
Russell.
and
She
a
is Taja.
Hey there.
podcast.
Hey, and welcome back, everybody, to the podcast where we drink and we read things. And on this episode, we read Heir by Sabaa Tahir. But before we get to that, it has been 2 weeks, Taja. What has been going on in your world? And before you get to that, is your copy also a library copy? Because I noticed the glossiness.
It is a library copy, and I got a bonus because there was from the library that it's from, there was like a bookmark. One of the like bookmark contests 2024 winner was Sawyer T, age 10, and it's really cute. It says read, it says reading is for everyone, and then READ is spelled out in Braille and ASL.
Oh,
It's
nice.
so cute. So
Shout out
yeah,
to
free
Sawyer T.
bonus from the Arapahoe Library.
Mine was from the Queen's Library. Shout out
Nice.
library books. All right,
Yeah, go
so two
libraries.
2 weeks. Yeah, support libraries.
Yeah.
2 weeks. What have you been up to?
Well, I've spent a collective 65 and a quarter hours
Oh my God.
um watching a Turkish drama that Angie has gotten me completely hooked on. So
So you've
she
watched a total of 5 episodes then.
I've watched actually 29,
I know
but
they're
they are
super long.
2 and a quarter-ish
Yeah.
hours. Um, so she had been texting me little things about this show, because the two main leads are very much like their chemistry is very John and Aaron from Farscape. So she was like, I think she'll like this. And she'd send me stuff and I'd watch it. And then being social media the way it is, my Facebook algorithm is now like just that show. And so I kept like seeing clips of these characters, and they're all in Turkish with no subtitles in these clips. So I'm just like watching and kind of like getting invested just by body language alone because I can't understand what they're saying. And so eventually I texted her and was like, okay, I think I need to actually watch this because I'm spending all this time not actually understanding what's going on. So she sent me her info to how to watch it on a thing that has English subtitles. And I just started season two. And there's 28 episodes in a season, which is like mind blowing because they're all 2 something hours long. And it's completely ridiculous, like soap operas. I call them my stories. Um, and it's great. It means Angie and I are texting a lot about it, and she's answering my questions about things, and um, it's ridiculous, and I love it a lot.
Nice. So you know the next step. Change that Duolingo over to Turkish.
Have been considering it, but there are some words that I've like learned just because of watching it, and they say them all the time.
I mean,
Uh,
that's what a lot of like, especially in hockey, because there's a lot more foreign players in that. Like, a lot of them talk about learning the language through TV and movies.
I
Because
mean, that's how Angie, like, I mean, she goes to a tutor too, but
yeah,
like she watches all those historical dramas and stuff. And we were joking because Monday, a new episode aired, and she was like, I think I'm gonna watch it like live, but that means there are no English subtitles. So she texted me partway through and was like, I'm not getting enough. I'm not getting enough. Um, but yeah, it's a really pretty language and they're really pretty people. And the characters are really sweet, and there's a lot of ridiculous drama. Like an episode I was watching last night, Barry came down from upstairs, and I was like, a car just blew up after it went off a cliff. Do you want to see this? I had to rewind it. Well, I didn't have to rewind it because it played in the next episode. Yeah, it's just like drama up the wazoo. Um, I don't want to call it stereotypical, but it is a soap opera basically. So yeah,
nice.
I'm like deep in that. Yeah. So my reading has kind of taken a little bit of a backseat.
Nice. So that's been your 2 weeks is Turkish.
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure other things happened. It's been really freaking cold.
yeah.
Um, I decided to adult not alone, but like the mirror, the side view mirror that got
Yeah.
stuff on the Honda. We took it in to see if they could fix it. And he was like, it's going to be like over $1,000 because the part from Honda was like 700 something. And then there's like the cap is 100 and then the labor. And I was like, if I find this cheaper somewhere else, can you install it for me? And he was like, yeah. But he was kind of like, it might be sus and might not be the right fit. So I ordered a part. And it was like less than $100. And when I ordered the part, a lot of the reviews were like, yeah, I did this myself. And I'm like, maybe I can do that and not spend $1,000 because we had to get winter tires on it. And that was like $1,000.
$1,000.
I'm
Yeah.
not spending.
So did it work out? Were you able
I
to
don't
do
know.
it?
I have
It's
the
coming
box.
yet.
I have the box. It came
Oh.
in. I just haven't like ripped myself away from the stories to learn how to put it on.
I need 2 more stories, then I'll get to your car. Damn it. Nice.
So yeah, that pretty much has been my 2 weeks. Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Especially, I mean, this time of year, like, geez, yeah,
Yeah, we had
enjoy
like a
the
long
inside.
weekend
Yeah.
for Martin Luther King Day, and I like was great. Didn't have to go to work. And I spent a good chunk of time just
Living in your stories.
yeah, didn't change out of my pajamas once. It was great.
Nice, nice. Gonna have another chance at that this weekend, I'm sure.
Yep,
Yeah,
so
we're getting
cold.
ready for some weather.
Yeah.
For me, my 2 weeks has been dominated by skating, basically, and getting ready for the tournament, which is next weekend. So we're very excited about that. Obviously, it's been cold enough, so the ice is in good shape. As long as we don't get any terrible weather occurrence, it should be good to go. So we're looking forward to that. So that's next week. Aside from that, I had the wedding that I had to run out, which is why our recording of our podcast took a few extra days to get out. But we went and saw our friend Sean get married, and it was a very cool reception. They had it was Sean and his husband Mike, and they got married by Sean's ex-boyfriend Brandon, who like it's a
Whoa.
very close circle there. So
Yeah.
Brandon had like a lot of beautiful stories to tell, and like had been
Nice.
involved in their life since the beginning because they had like a really good breakup where it's very actually mutual. And
Nice.
so he's been there for the whole thing. So to hear him kind of describe their relationship was really
That's
cool.
cute.
And there was just a lot of fun, a lot of dancing, some questionable moments where we put people up on chairs at the behest of Sean's father, stepfather. He was like, we got to do the chair thing. And we were like,
Oh,
okay, people are too
dangerous.
drunk for that, but we didn't drop them, which was nice.
That's great.
And then consecutive nights of staying up till 3 in the morning is probably too much. So yeah, that Sunday drive
Yeah.
home, it was like 2 hours home. Amanda drove,
Yeah.
yeah, which was great. And it was just, yeah, how long can you nap on the couch to recover? And like honestly, like even Monday, I was still very sluggish. It
I got
was takes a lot out of you. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how I feel after 4 days of drinking next weekend at this hockey tournament. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm still
Oh, yeah.
38.
And like skating around all day too. So like
Yes,
physically taking a toll.
physically being very tired. But yeah, so I'm supposed to skate tonight with my brother. We'll see. It's supposed to be like -2 degrees out, and
Yeah.
apparently him and my niece are not very into that idea. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, just excited to get out there and do it. And maybe I'll post some stuff on our socials, which means this is your every episode reminder to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube as we're at Adult Book Club 21. It's Adult Book Club, all one word, number 21 for the year we started recording this. You can look at our beautiful faces for as long as you want and see that I think I'm just wearing this sweatshirt every single time now. This is my lounge sweater. So I was like, maybe I should. I honestly was thinking about it. I was like, should I put my hair down so it looks different? I don't really care. It's too
I
much.
sometimes I forget that we put it up on YouTube now because like we didn't
Never
used to
did.
for so
Yeah.
long. Yeah. Like make sure you're not picking your nose in frame.
I'm sure I'm probably picking my
Yeah.
nose. But anyway, yeah, find us there, Adult Book Club 21. Give us a follow, give us a DM. We'll talk to you. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And on that note, we move back to the book, which once again is Heir by Sabaa Tahir. Heir is book one of the Heir duology. Shockingly there, and was released in October 2024. The second book is still being written and does not have an expected release date or name yet. So
So weird.
see what that means. Heir is set in the same universe as Tahir's An Ember in the Ashes series, which consists of 4 novels. These stories revolve around the generation before the characters in Heir, including Sif's parents, Layla and Elias, as well as Quill's aunt, Helene. If any of you have read the story, that makes sense to you. If you haven't, it's basically like reading a book about your parents. Outside of these stories, she has written 1 standalone novel titled All My Rage, 2 graphic novels, and 4 works of short fiction. So, on that note, Taja, if you want to read us the jackets, we will jump into this story.
All right. An orphan, an outcast, a prince, and a killer who will bring an empire to its knees. Growing up in the Kagari slums, Aiz has seen her share of suffering. An old tragedy fuels her need for vengeance, but it is love of her people that propels her, until one hot-headed mistake lands her in an inescapable prison where the embers of her wrath ignite. Banished from her people for an unforgivable crime, Saoirse is a down-on-her-luck tracker who uses magic to trace her marks. Destitute, she agrees to hunt down a killer who has murdered children across the Marshall Empire. All she has to do is carry out the job and get paid. But when a chance encounter leads to an unexpected attraction, Saoirse learns her mission might cost her far more than she's willing to give up. Quill is the crown prince of the empire and a nephew of a venerated empress, but he's loath to take the throne when his aunt steps down. As the son of a reviled empire, he, better than anyone, understands that power corrupts. When a vicious new enemy threatens the survival of the empire, Quill must ask himself if he can rise above his tragic lineage and be the heir his people need. Beloved storyteller Sabaa Tahir interweaves the lives of 3 young people as they grapple with power, treachery, love, and the devastating consequences of unchecked greed on a journey that may cost them their lives and their hearts. Literally.
Literally. How do we end this? 1 word. Literally.
Literally.
So as mentioned there, we have our orphan, outcast, and prince, which means we have 3 point of views. We actually have a couple others sprinkled in at different times, but that's like a drop of sand compared
Yeah.
to the rest of us. So we're gonna start with those 3. That's gonna be the main focus, pre-spoilers. So we're going to do them in order of appearance, and I'm gonna pronounce this A's probably more often than not. It's Aiz, but it's A-I-Z for those who haven't read the book. I'm doing my best. I was wondering, Taja, I could pronounce that name. What stood out to you about her story?
I think that what stood out was just the sort of sad situation that her people are in, that the situation she finds herself in. I guess for lack of a better term, country where she's from is like not in great shape. Um, and I think she clings to um religion for solace or guidance or whatever. But then I think that maybe makes her a little bit not naive necessarily, but she's malleable, able to be manipulated more easily because she's effectively in a cult.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the standout thing for me was that she had all these convictions based on that, but then sort of as things progress, I feel like I wasn't um, convinced of her fortitude.
Yeah, her conviction, I think,
Yeah.
too. Except for when it came, I guess, to religion. And at that
Yeah.
point, she really had to believe what she was believing, but that's in spoilers, so we'll get into that
Yeah.
later. I will say for me, getting to know her, it felt very much like the underdog that we're going to root for. We started off very strong with how
Very.
not only is she an orphan, she grows up in the cloisters with sisters or nuns that take care of her clerics
Yeah.
in this world, and their like main focus in Kagari, and we get into that later on with our world building here, is like they have this magical metal that when they manipulate it with their magic, they can fly, and so everyone wants to be a flyer. She couldn't be. She like failed out of that, so now she's wondering uh, how she's going to deal with that. So I liked it when it started, but I feel like as the story went on, she came a little bit too predictable for me.
Yeah, sure.
You can take the dog out. We'll come back to this. All right, a hard cut back in for our YouTube users as Taja had to take the dog for a walk. But for the audio people, they'll never know this happened. Also, shout out Barris. Heard you're a big time watcher. So, no, I don't want to start that way. Yeah, so I will say to start, the thing that kind of upset me with IE's, or like, I don't know, frustrated, maybe more than annoyed, was how like singularly focused she was on her revenge. And I get like, obviously, that's a big part of her story. That's a big part of everything that happens to her. We really need that.
But to like the detriment of everything else.
And she like pays, yeah, exactly. First of all, not thinking about the
The
consequences to anyone else,
consequences. Yeah.
especially in this like very authoritarian society that she finds herself in. So it's like
Yeah.
the fact that she's seen how Tyrrell, who is like the son of one of the leaders, has reacted in the past, and he burned down the orphanage, killing a lot of her friends. So I understand her anger towards him, but
Absolutely.
the fact that she's just like, oh, I can like
She thinks she'll get away with it.
yeah, kill him super
Yeah.
easily in his sleep. He'll never see it coming, even though he's like one of the most powerful windsmiths that we have and everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot like, and I think this will be a reoccurring theme. We talked about it before we started recording for me, but like when I was in the moment reading it, there were still some things, especially later on, that I was like, eh. But like the more I looked back on this book as I was after when I was doing the rundown for it, the more I kind of was like, oh, I didn't really like that part about it. Oh, I didn't
Mm,
really like that part about it. And I get that it's YA, and like I think I struggle a little bit more with the YA,
yeah.
just because sometimes I think it's a little like too obvious,
Yeah, sure.
with the storylines and things, and like some of the tropes just because it's younger kids, and like younger kids, I want to bash my head into the ground. Not your fault, children, but it was there's just a lot of it that I look back on, and I think with Ais in
Nice.
particular, her storyline definitely frustrated me as we continued onward with it.
For sure. Yeah, hers was kind of the one I was least excited about getting back to. Yeah.
Very fair. And I will
Yeah.
say at first, just with how it's written, I was worried we were going to fall into that ABC
Yes.
scenario, but it did eventually break out of that,
That, yeah. Yeah.
which you kind of needed to, and we'll get into that in
Yeah.
spoilers as well. So moving on, the next one we meet is Quill, who is our prince and heir. What did you think of him as we got to know him?
I really like Quill. Um, I see what your point before. He's like possibly a little too perfect, but I do think that that's a little bit of a, a thing that YA can fall into.
Yeah,
Um, but I appreciated that he is kind of set up to be like the leader you want to have, where it's like he doesn't really want the power, so it's like the kind of person who should have it.
yeah,
Um, he's like really noble and strong and has like a good moral compass and everything, but he like is he real?
yeah.
That kind of thing. And I guess looking back on it, it kind of takes away from the realism of it when there's such a non-flawed character. He's perfect at everything and he's so young and so handsome and
He just reminds me of that person in the interview who's like, "Oh, what's my biggest flaw? I don't know, loving too much." Is that like I love too much that it hurts? And it's like he wasn't literally that bad, but again, looking back on it, I was like, where did he make a mistake? Like
yeah,
he's got some secrets he's hiding. He has some
right.
guilt over what happened to Elar and Rue,
Yeah.
which once we get like that felt a little bit like a Croatia situation from the people we meet on
Yes, I
vacation,
agree.
where we built up to it. And once we get to that moment, like spoilers before spoilers, there wasn't really anything he did that was wrong. So I don't
No.
understand how I guess because he's so perfect and he couldn't protect them and he loves them, that's why like that's his greatest failure is not
And
being
that's
able
a bit of
to
an eye
participate
roll.
saving people. So yeah, it was just kind of frustrating how perfect he was, at least for me. Like he's an incredible friend. Oh, also, like as they're trying to escape, he kills six people by himself because he's also an
Yeah,
incredible fighter. But then he's also incredibly empathetic, and we learn that there's something more behind that. So I guess sure that works a little bit.
sure.
but it was just kind of like literally every chance you had to be like, hey, maybe he's bad. Nope, he's good at this too.
I mean, he's like um really intelligent. Like he had memorized like information about like another country's like legal stuff. Like
Mhm.
of course he did.
And it is like one of those ones where it's like, well, obviously he had a different childhood because his aunt is the empress and she's grooming him to be a good emperor. So, like, yes, there is some of that where it's like you see it in other stories too, where they just become so focused on that they're like they have such a great breadth of knowledge. But
Yeah.
usually when you have that, there's other things that you fail at, you know? Like you still can make a mistake. It's okay.
And you're also likely to be older and have taken
Yes.
longer to accumulate all of that
I
knowledge.
mean, I guess to be fair, unlike Spin the Dawn, I
Yeah, he
believe our
was in his
characters were like
20s.
20.
Yeah,
So not quite like the 14-year-old finding a
that's
bunch of
true.
scissors and running with it.
But like frontal lobe not yet fully developed
Yeah.
deal.
Maybe in this world it is though. We got
Maybe
our
that's true.
frontal
We
lobe
don't know
so
the
fast.
age.
But yeah, and like I guess a part of it too, like giving him that backstory of his father being like the worst emperor and how he's so afraid he's going to become that. Sure, gives a little bit of credence of why he like wouldn't rebel against these teachings. But it was just kind of again too much as we kept digging down into it. Like it kind of reminds me of, or like the thing that just popped in my head, thinking of Fitz from
Mhm.
Royal Assassin, etc. Like his life was a lot different, obviously being a bastard, but like he gets very specific tutoring about
Yeah,
to become an assassin, but he has to
right,
learn like the history of the empire and all the different things and stuff like that, but he still makes mistakes because he's still a child, or like, you know,
right.
whatever, a teenager, early 20s. Like there's still an opportunity there, and literally the only thing we keep pointing out is that he failed Elar, this woman that he loved, and then spoilers before spoilers, we learned he knew her for like 2 months. And it's like, God
Right.
damn it! Like even that.
And that's funny too, because like initially when he was the way he had been talking about her, I was like, oh, this must be like someone he's loved since childhood. And then it was like, oh,
I honestly
you
thought it was
are
like
a kid.
I thought it was like Sif's sister. Like somebody he
Yeah,
grew up with that was like a familiar friend who like he's loved since he was a
same,
child. And it was like,
same.
oh, they were just like a lower class or like
Yep.
a
Yeah, it
servant
was like
in the whatever. And he
something
knew
that
him
wouldn't
forever.
have worked. Yeah,
Like, granted, it wouldn't have worked because Elar was from, you know, she was a lowly
another
person
place.
from
Yeah,
another country. So, like, if he has to marry for treaties or whatever, it's not going to be
right.
with her. But still, it was like, okay, let's calm down a little
Yeah,
bit here.
yeah.
Uh,
And I that is like definitely an area where it seems as though Quill is showing his lack of experience. In that like he fell so hard for somebody like especially in a situation like he's being like you said groomed to be the next ruler. They should have, I don't know, more more walls
get
built up.
get an extra lock on that chastity belt.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of it is when he's with the tribes people, I think he's free to be more of himself. And I
Sure.
think that's part
Yeah.
of what the Empress wanted
Yeah.
was to him kind of find himself out there amongst
Yeah.
family or people they trust. But still, yeah, it just again, in the moment you're like, oh, this is fine. But then when you kind of think back on Quill as a person, you're like, wait, like literally give me one time he did
Just
anything.
like too perfect.
Yeah, he's dude
Yeah.
perfect. And then finally, we have our outcast, which is Saoirse. I was wondering what you made of her.
She's like the strong female lead of this whole story. I think that her self-reliance and like skill um are really great. But she also is, super lonely and like some of that can translate into being um I don't know, kind of maintaining distance from people.
Yeah.
Um like the way that she is when she first meets Quill and Sufjan and Aurelia are um it makes sense and it's valid that she kind of like keeps people at arm's length, but you can tell that she like needs friends.
Yeah.
Um so I feel like she's clearly lonely and hurt and everything, and that informs a lot of her decisions and the way she acts. But she's super resourceful and her powers are really cool. Um and I liked her snark.
Yeah. I think what I enjoyed about her was she was the perfect mixture of like confident but still making mistakes, still trying to
Yeah.
like, human
Yep.
basically.
Yeah.
I think with Ais, you see like all the mistakes and none of
Right.
like the forethought. And with Quill, it's the exact opposite, where
And
everything is
Saoirse's like, no, no,
planned to a
no.
point, and Saoirse is like, I'm actually a person. You can believe me. I
Right.
will say it was interesting. I saw an interview with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck because they just had a Netflix movie come out, and
Oh
there's,
yeah.
I swear, but they were talking about how like when you used to make films, it would be like you would build up to like a big cinematic moment, like that
Mhm.
would be your big fight scene or whatever,
Yeah.
car chase, etc. And now they're saying because of how low our attention span is, like they like in the first scene you got to have like action. And then you have to like repeat the plot like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie because people aren't actually paying
Peaks and
attention.
valleys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like the start of this book was, where like
Mhm.
every single one of our characters had like uh a big whatever moment to start their things. Like with Ais, it's her assassination attempt.
Yeah.
Quill, it's a little less exciting, but like there's somebody talking to him in his head, and it's like, hey, you're in danger, something's happening in the city square, whatever. And then he meets with the woman of death or whatever she is.
Right.
And then, but with Saoirse, like hers was we just jump right into the middle of a fight where she's trying to like defend this life and gold that she's made for the last few years, but is at overwhelming odds and eventually has to escape to run away from everything. And like that definitely grabbed me the most because I was like, okay, this seems like again somebody who can make mistakes, somebody
Yeah.
who's just like trying. She felt more of the underdog we were supposed to root for
Yeah.
because she had been pushed out by her people more than Ais was. So yeah, right off the bat, I really liked her. And then as we got to know her, like you were saying, her wit, her like just how she carried herself, how she was so against trusting people to the point where we even learned like as soon as they split ways, she immediately talked shit about the other three, even though she kind of liked them. She's still like, oh, well, fuck that, fuck the Marshall people. Like I'm not gonna, yeah, whatever.
I also appreciate that so from the juxtaposition of Aiz's story and like she's like so hell-bent on revenge. She was wronged and she's gonna like get hers. Whereas Saoirse, I mean, her situation and why she's an outcast is obviously a little different and she's got some guilt for that. So I think it's a different kind of feeling, but like she's not um showing real hatred toward her people or you know what I mean to the family that kicked her out. She's just
Yeah.
disappointed that they did. And I think that the motivations being so different really inform how they act. Like Saoirse's very much about like survival and like doing what she has to do to get by and I don't want to say live comfortably, but you know what I mean, just like not die.
Yeah.
And Ease is like just frustrated with everything. And then I think that kind of makes her make crappier choices.
I think it's tough too. Like the big difference between the two is like Ais has always wanted the power, right? And then when she finally
Mm.
gets tested for her windsmithing, she doesn't have the control over it. And so like when she calls to it, it's not there. Saoirse is the exact opposite, where she is like from birth known as like the most powerful of the
Oh,
Jaduna. She has like an incredible legacy ahead of her as it's laid out, and then whatever happens happens and she becomes an outcast because of it. So like for her, like she knows her power's there, but
hmm
she only uses it a certain amount, right? Like she uses
right.
it for her tracking and all that. Whereas like so I think there's a part of that too where she understands that if all else fails, it's there. Whereas Ais is more just like I have nothing else, even though you do have other things. But
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head too with Thais. Like she and her friend growing up, like kind of came up to the same point, and then like their paths diverged because she couldn't perform the same way that he could.
yeah.
And I feel like there's very much a sense of um not entitlement, but like she thinks that she's oh, she thinks she's deserving of those things that she doesn't actually have.
Well, it's like you read in the jacket. It said something about like greed, right?
Yeah.
Power, treachery, love, and greed. Like for her, the greed is for power,
Yeah,
and like,
totally.
even it's kind of not. It's just glazed over there a little bit in the beginning. You don't really think about it. I didn't think about it till now. But like her, the way she treats Sarah after that,
hmm
who is Ais's friend, Sarah gets into the sales, which is their flying group, and she like stops talking to him and basically
She's
tries
so
to cut
mean
him
to
out,
him.
even though they have been friends since childhood. And she like avoids him as he tries to help her and everything else, and like he's doing everything for her to try to be like, hey, like, and again, not his fault. He did nothing to her, either
And he
way.
helps her like all the time.
Yeah, and he's trying to use his position to help them, help the people of the cloisters, and it's just, yeah.
She's more annoying. The more we're talking about her, the more I'm like, ugh.
Oh, that one, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was my last note at Saoirse was she's favorite. And I
Yeah,
think that was
same.
pretty easy. As I mentioned to you before, around chapter 9, like the second or third time I saw her name, I pronounced it Sieshna. And
Farscape fans, you'll
unfortunately,
know.
that stuck for the rest of the time I was reading it. I almost sent you a GIF of it. I couldn't find one. I almost made one. And then I was like, no, let's not break her glass ceiling, because my God, it was terrible every time
Um,
I saw it.
I think that you should follow through with making a GIF of that just so we can send it to our WhatsApp group and it
Sieshna.
can be used during Dragon Con for a variety of reasons.
True. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
So finally, before we get to your get to know your podcaster question and move on to spoilers, we have setting. So our book is set on the continent of the Empire, which is made up of a bunch of different countries. Some of them have been run by the Empire. Some are still individuals. So I was wondering what you thought of the world building that Tahir did when it came to magic, peoples, and politics.
So like huge world.
Yeah.
Um, I think that wait, I guess it's great that there's a map. I honestly like never really referred to it when I was reading.
So you can't put a map on the back of the jet or whatever that's called, that first page, like
Yeah.
because I looked for the map and literally didn't find it until like again when I write spoilers, I read the jacket for the first time and I was like, oh, there's a map there the whole time, like because I never
Wait,
think to look
where
there.
did you look for it?
Literally the next page after it, like because it's usually because the map is usually like in the pages between like the praise and the dedication. Yeah, no, it was a mistake.
Um, all that to say that it's a very full world. I appreciate that she didn't spend like over much time explaining the politics of it. It was like talked about. And that kind of left me a little bit like happy that we weren't taking up time talking about that shit, but then also like, okay, there's just like so much like Games of Thrones style, like this place is against this place and this place is against that place, and it was kind of overwhelming, but I also just sort of like glossed over it and was still able to follow the story just fine.
So it's funny you say that because to me, the thing out of those three things I listed, the number one that I thought was the least well done was the politics. And it's
Mm,
not that I wanted to get bogged down in it, but even in like what you're saying, your descriptions there, and like finding out afterwards that there's four stories set in this world, like before maybe they
there's
get more
probably
into
more,
it at
yeah,
that point, but like just the plight of the people of Kagari or Kagar, whichever one it
yeah,
is, they like the fact that they're basically secluded on the wrong side of the mountain
right.
where nothing can grow and it's like a peninsula, so there's not land they can expand to. So they have their sails and all they do is raid and they raid for food and they never have enough of it. And like on their part, figure out something you can export, like figure it out. And they even mentioned at one point that like nobody wanted their sales technology or they laughed at him or something. It's like I don't know, that's true. I
Yeah,
don't
like
know how hard
where'd
you
you get
really
that
worked at that.
information?
And then the other side of it is those surrounding people that are constantly getting raided, who I think are part of the empire. Wouldn't they be
That
like,
was a little
hey,
unsure, yeah.
hey, can't we like do something here because these people are raiding us? So like maybe we can come to some agreement where they like we figure something out that they can do and
Like,
we give them like we create trade.
especially
Because
because they're getting raided like f mostly like for food. Like, yeah,
yeah,
the Kigari like raids are not clean, so to speak, but like if you know that this is something that they need and you want them to stop raiding you, figure out a scenario where you don't need to.
and again, they appear to be the only ones with the technology to fly. So you're telling me that's not important. Like
Yeah.
that part just frustrated me. And
Uh,
maybe again,
yeah.
something happened in the other four books that like sets the Kagari apart more. But it just felt like you're literally ignoring something that is attached to you. So
Yeah, it was
what are you
really
gonna
it
do? You're
it
you're
felt
ignoring a broken foot. Like,
like
come on, what the fuck are we doing here?
it felt like the situation was really complex, but it did feel as though we were kind of dropped in the middle of it, which makes sense if this is basically like a sequel
Yeah,
because it's a generation beyond the
yeah,
four books that she wrote before. So it's very possible that like in those four books there's more you'd have more understanding of the why things are the way they are. But I agree, it was very much like how did we even get here?
yeah. Very frustrating. The other end of that is I thought she did a really good job with the peoples, creating a
Mm,
lot of different races of peoples with a lot of their own
like cultural,
abilities, yeah,
societal.
cultures and all that. Like the tribes people and their own, even like within the tribes people, the many different tribes and how they all like had their own like niche. Like, oh, that tribe is actually known more for like their herbalists and all that. Like,
Right,
and
right.
etc. The things that they would trade and how they would move. That was cool. Like the Ankanas that they were like the seers. So that was
Yeah,
there. The Jaduna, which is what Saoirse was, which are known more for like their tracking and their magic that's tied more to like the elements of the earth. Like, okay, and even the Kagari with like their ridiculous cult like religion and their
yeah,
belief that Mother Div is going to return to move that. Like, I thought she did a wonderful job of giving us tastes of all
yes.
those different ones and kind of really filling the world. Again, having four books before this, obviously, she had a lot to pull
Mhm.
from, but it
Yeah.
never felt, I will say, like when I found out that the books were set in the same world, I never felt that we lost anything, right?
Yeah, it's a very much a story that can be on its own.
Yeah. So I thought she did a good job building that world for us here
Yeah.
again as well. The magic,
I think what you said though was it like it worked in that she had like the different kinds of magic, like
yeah,
uh expertise, I guess. But I do feel like it wasn't expounded on.
it just frustrated me that once again, spoilers before spoilers, we have like some very rare magic happening. And of course, who's doing it? Now, I understand that's the point of stories is you meet like the rare people, but it's still like that was just an extra twist of the knife as we learn more
Mhm.
about Quill. But I will say yeah, I did like that again. It was kind of based. It was like in the bloodlines, I guess is how I
Yeah.
would put it. Like how the tribes people had the what they call them, the Kahani, like the
Hmm.
storytellers, and like the storytelling is in their blood. And again, the seers of the Arcana, the trackers of the Jaduna, like how it was passed down that way. And even Quill mentions like how magic is in your blood. So it's
Right.
like, yeah. So I liked it at times it like felt convenient. I think the best representation of it, and maybe it's just because she's favorite, was Saoirse. How
Yeah.
she would talk to the elements and how like she would
Yeah.
talk about how even each element was kind of like even if they really wanted to help, they would like literally kick her
Or
in the
lock.
ass a certain
Yeah.
way. But like she talks about how the wind could be the most temperamental, right? And the earth would
Yeah.
only talk if it was like really feeling corrupted or something like that, or
Right.
like it had a goal in mind too. And the water went its own way all the time. So I
Mhm.
liked that it had personalities as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it worked out. Like I don't think I left this being like I don't really understand this world. I think it was more
Mhm.
just kind of again the frustration towards the politics specifically where like this whole story doesn't have to happen if you're just fucking nicer to your neighbors
Yeah, yeah, it does seem like there could have been a more elegant solution than most of the things that happened.
than all out war. But I guess that happens in our world too. So
Yeah, actually, that was something that I kind of appreciated that it felt realistic because it wasn't like all the places of this world are hunky-dory and everybody likes everybody. It
yeah.
just felt like, of course, there's going to be people who are with less and want more, and people with more that want to keep more, and that tracks.
That doesn't sound right at all. I
I
don't know
know.
what you're talking about.
So weird.
All right, moving on. We have your get to know your podcaster question. And for this one, we are pulling very directly from the story. So we meet many different types of people throughout this world. that have very niche abilities. Of the following, which would you choose to be and why? A Kagari sail pilot, a Kahani, the story keeper of a tribe, a Jaduna tracker, a mask, or an Ancana seer?
So I'm saying Kahani mostly because the culture and society of the tribes was sort of the most like appealing to me.
Hmm.
It was very much giving like Bazir from Tortall vibes, which also has a place in my heart. Um, but so I say that because I like their energy,
The community,
the
yeah.
community, but like
Yeah.
I'm not a storyteller, so like I don't know that that would be I wouldn't want to be one of the powerful people there. I'd maybe want to be like not like something be like Sufyan who like knows medicine and that kind of thing. I think that would be more my MO. But,
That's fair. I mean, I also chose that I'd want to be a Kahani just because I like the idea of collecting stories. And like
yeah.
I try to be a storyteller. It does not always work out well. I've been told I have terrible stories. So maybe that would help me be able to deliver
It
better
probably would.
stories. I did also appreciate the nomadic lifestyle of the
Yeah.
tribes and like you said, the community of them. And I think like it's a little rose-colored glasses because Quill appreciates it so much.
Yeah.
Fian is from there too, like his family is. So we get like the good parts of it, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, like this,
A little bit of a biased.
having to keep watch every night for a gin out in the desert probably isn't
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Or the
Also
massive
that much sand.
sandstorms. Yeah, all that probably not great. I did say if you chose that to be different, I'd choose a tracker. Again, just
Same.
because that was kind of the magic that I thought was the most interesting.
Yeah.
And I would really like this weekend be trying to tell the wind to blow that storm another way. It would
Yeah.
listen to me, and that's not really how it worked, but I would try real hard.
It does feel like the like closely tied to the elements magic would be the most helpful or the
Mhm.
most like useful
Yeah,
in
I mean,
life.
especially when you think of like the other ones, like the blood one that they talk about how the Kagari had lost it, like that could be helpful, like a healing magic type thing. And
Yes.
also, but then the mind reading side of it, like, and we kind of see a little bit of that with Quill. I think that's where
Mhm.
his intuition comes from, where yeah, like
Right.
because he's so perfect, he knows what to say all the time, and
Yeah.
how people want to be held, etc., even if they won't tell you. But like I think that would be so fucking frustrating. Like because we see it pecking at the back of his head, like just do it, just do it, just do it. And I
Yeah.
feel like there's gonna be times, as we see, where you kind of get drawn into it without necessarily meaning to. So like
Sure.
while people think it'd be great to read people's minds, or like I like the shows or whatever where they're like, I want to talk to animals, and then it's like the dog's like, biscuit, 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 food, food, food. It's like,
This is the argument Barry and I are constantly having because I want to get Bryce those little buttons where she can
yeah.
press it and talk. And Barry's like, I don't want to just hear food, food, food all the time. So I think we'd have slightly more lively conversation than just
Food,
that.
mom,
But
food, mom, 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 food, mom. Then Barry would walk by, she'd be like, bitch.
very possibly.
She loves him. Just kidding, Trey. So yeah, so let us know if you've read the book and any of that makes sense, what you would be in the comments. And if not, well, read the book and then get back to us. Come on, guys. It's a book club,
It is. It's a
you
club
know?
for books.
It's a club for books. So on that note, we move into spoilers. And before we do that, we have your song. It goes like this. This is the pot that we're going into spoilers. If you don't know the book, get out. Because this is the pot that we're going into spoilers. It's time to learn why we hate Ais so goddamn much and how her story changes in the middle of this story. So if you don't know this part, then you better get out because we're coming to you in spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. So we learn that our stories are being told out of sync and that Aiz is the woman that Quill knew as Elar, who he believed was killed along with Sif's brother Rue. Sif is his nickname for Sufyan, which
So,
is
like, is
much
it
easier to say.
Sif or is it Suf?
I don't know, but I was saying Sif because yeah, did they say it when you were listening to it?
I think it's Suf. I mean, his name is Sufyan. Like, where would Sif come from?
I was pretty sure they called him Sif. Never gonna find it in these 2 seconds.
I was like, now I'm looking in the book.
In the book, this is a filler moment.
I
We're
will
both reading.
say, just a little aside while we're looking, something that I've noticed about YA in particular is they often will, yep, it's SUF, SUF.
Is it? I misread it the whole time.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm on page 139 for what it's worth, like the top of the page, second line. Um,
Wow, that is wild. My whole life is broken. Well, we'll see how many times that comes up. But you were saying,
well, so I've noticed this a lot with YA books that like especially fantasy books. Like you've given this character a potentially ridiculous name. I actually like the name Sufyan. I think it's really cool.
yeah,
And some of the other names in this book, I'm very glad I was listening because all of the Jaduna names
yeah,
have like a Dargo situation. So it's supposed to be like a guttural stop, like a glottal, whatever. I don't know what you call it, but like you're supposed to stop. So it's
yeah,
like Yan, and her real name is like Saoirse. You like pause.
yeah,
Um, anyway, all that to say, if you're gonna give fantasy characters fantasy names, why are we nicknaming them then? Just like why are we just shortening the
yeah.
name? Like and then it just feels extremely childish to me. And it just like really punches home the YA as I'm reading.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of like the typical hockey nicknames where it's like, oh, your name's Clark. Oh, we're gonna call you Clarky. Like that's just
Yeah.
we have this set thing, but I think
It's
you
like a
brought this
trope.
up before. But yeah, you do see it. And to be fair, that's where I kind of appreciate Quill's because Quill's name isn't actually Quill. That's a nickname that was given to him by Tass, which has nothing to do with his name.
Well, isn't his name like Aquilar or something like that?
Yeah, but it's like Zachariah something something.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like
So I guess it
it
does.
is
Okay, I'm wrong.
it
Damn it! I
has
can't read this book anymore.
it has something to do with his name, but it's not, it's much better because A, he chose it, and B, it's not just like a shortening of his
Yeah.
name. It's like a legit like nickname that like is picked out of something,
Yeah.
not just like Soof.
Well, we'll see how many other times I wrote
And
Sifs
she
because
even he does it even to his aunt, the Empress, Aunt Hel.
yeah,
Like, Helen, there's a just like one other it, oh, it
we
makes me kind of mad actually. I'm
we
realizing now.
we can only do one syllable names. That's all.
Yeah.
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 This is something else like totally off topic, but that's okay. You guys are here. Listen to us. Um, you pointed out, I forget which book it was. It was a while ago. That this author specifically did the thing where they would start talking. So it'd be like, oh, the other day I went to school. Break quotations. She said as she was walking, start quotations, and I noticed this boy named Rod or whatever. You pointed that out in that book because they did it all the time, and I never noticed it. And now, every because like I usually actually skip over those parts. Like I don't care. Like she whispered, she said, she yelled, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
But ever since you did that, you broke my glass ceiling. Where like all the time when I see it, I'm like, oh, Taj would be pissed.
So it's funny because like I notice it when I'm looking at the page,
Yeah,
obviously, if I'm like physically reading a book, but listening to a book. So like it comes through differently. Like I didn't even notice that that was happening
yeah. I
because
don't know if
it's
it was specifically bad in this one, but I'm
yeah,
just saying, like, I ever since you
just in
pointed that out,
general.
like, if it comes up a couple times, like, oh shit, all right, it's happening. Um, yeah. So that was our TED talk on things we hate about things. Let's start over.
Did
So
you even ask the question?
there's no question. We were in
Okay, we
spoilers.
didn't even get to that.
We
Okay,
haven't
I
even.
wasn't sure if
Yeah.
you'd asked the first
We did
question.
one line of spoilers. We're gonna do it
That's so
again.
funny.
We learned that our stories are being told out of sync and that Ais is the woman that Quill knew as Elar, who he believed was killed along with Soof's brother Rue. This is going to be terrible. The truth is that Ais was following the voice of what she believed to be her people's trapped saint named Mother Div. She released her from her prison only to learn that Div now needed the hearts of the innocent to survive and feed power back to Ais. The monster and Ais, through their bond, is responsible for almost 100 deaths throughout the Empire and Kagari. Using this power, Ais was able to overthrow the leaders of Kagari and assume the mantle of Tel Elisi. She is leading the attack against the Empire in order to gain their precious Loha, which is a liquid metal that Kagar used to power their flying ships and other magics. The Kagari attack puts Quill on the run along with Suf and his cousin Aurelia. While fleeing the capital, they meet Saoirse, and continue together but do not trust one another. Saoirse leaves them in Jubat. I feel like it's like a fucking Mad Lib with all these proper names, but is quickly captured by her sister, who plans to kill her for using magic to trap. This is only stopped once Quill steps in, claiming they are engaged and that as a citizen of the Empire, Saoirse cannot be put to death by her sister. They seal the fake engagement with a Jaduna oath that links their souls and will be tougher to break than Quill realizes. The group sets out to track the killer of the children and the Tel Elisi of the Kagari, not knowing they are bonded. After seeing the creature firsthand as it kills Saoirse's friend Loli Temba, the group splits up, with Quill and Saoirse going after the Kagari, while Suf and Aurelia rendezvous with an Empire spy named Tass in Ancona. Quill and Saoirse find the Kagari camp and realize that the Tel Elisi is the one who has bonded the magical creature that is killing so many people. Quill goes to take on the Tel Elisi while Saoirse confronts the creature with her sister and longtime friend Jian. Jian is killed and Saoirse barely escapes before being captured and brought to a tent where they are also holding Quill. Quill has also failed but is stunned silent as he just learned the Tel Elisi is the woman he knew as Elar, who he believed had been dead for over a year. Luckily, they have an ally in the Kagari. Luckily, they have an ally in the Kagari named Sero, who is Ais's oldest friend and does not like what she has become as the Tel Elisi. He sees that she has been corrupted by the link to Mother Div and allows Quill and Saoirse to escape, hoping they will be able to find a way to free his friend from the creature's grasp. The two unite with Suf and Aurelia in Arcana just after they pull off a robbery to collect a pallet worth of rare stone that negates magic. They send it off to the Empire in the hopes that it will help counteract the magic of the Kagari and give the Empire a chance to fight back. Quill and Saoirse have fallen for each other, and what started as a few trysts quickly becomes love. Saoirse realizes though that to defeat Mother Div, she must fight her with an opposing form of magic. She knows that Div is an empty creature that can only take, so Saoirse will have to use her magic to sacrifice herself and give as much as possible to destroy it. Quill sets a trap for the Tel Elisi, and it works perfectly, with Saoirse binding the creature and Suf killing Aze for what she did to his little brother Rue. The only problem is that Saoirse's magic envelops the creature. The only problem is that as Saoirse's magic envelops the creature, it takes her with it, and after the battle, she can't be found. Our story ends with Quill learning the story of the creature that took Saoirse from Suf's mother. Oh my god. Our story ends with Quill learning this. Oh my gosh, too many stories. Hi, people of YouTube, I'm not editing this out. Our story ends with Quill learning the story of the creature that took Saoirse from Suf's mother, Leia. Leia?
Leia, I think. I don't know.
Nice.
Leia.
Ais is that. Wow.
Leia.
Ais. It ends with Ais being shocked to find that she is somehow still alive, although her magic is weak, but she is able to save Sero as well. Her bond to Mother Div has been broken and a weight removed from her shoulders. Saoirse finds herself on an unknown coast with no idea of how to get back to the others and a bond that has attached her to the creature she now knows as the Empty. Weird ending to spoilers as well. So, yep, nailed it. I'm so sorry for everyone on YouTube, but I will not be fixing that in post. So, you're welcome, audio listeners. What did you think? First question. What did you think of the big twist surrounding Ais? First, learning her story is not synced with the other two, then that she was the girl Elar, and finally, the Tel Elisi.
Learning that it wasn't synced with the others, I think was a shock that like kind of made sense. The fact that she was Alar was annoying.
Yes.
Because I think we said this maybe before we started recording, how frustrating it is that we'd learned so much, not so much, but like I think I had an expectation of who Ilar was from Quill's point of view.
Yeah.
And then to learn that it wasn't that, and that it was somebody that he like just met, and somebody who was totally lying about who she was just like obnoxious. And her um internal struggle or not struggle, I guess, with lying about all of that was also annoying. Like, I didn't really understand the requirement for keeping secret about who she was. Like, I know that Mother Div didn't want her to share the book specifically, but I can't remember if she requested that she not share she was Kagari. Like,
I that was more because she was worried about like she would stand out a lot more. Because Kagaris like don't venture out. They're
interact.
seen as different
I mean,
people. So
couldn't she just be like a re like I don't see what like going out and being truthful about. She's basically like a refugee. She's like looking for signs of her faith or whatever. Like I it was all annoying that
yeah.
she chose to do it that way. And that she was using Quill so much, but then also she would seem so callous, like, oh, just get what you need and get out,
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. But then every now and then would be like, oh, the way he looked at me, oh, I'm actually falling for him. And like, ugh.
Well, he is the perfect specimen,
I
so
mean,
how
he
do you blame her?
is, but
Yeah, my big takeaway was this book really changed for me when so Ais is chasing after this story because she's trying to find Mother Div, or what she believes is Mother Div, who is speaking to her in her brain.
it's
So
like
she
sus.
Yeah, so she finds the tribes people. Oh, she's looking, sorry, the book she had was signed by Lila or Leia, whatever.
Lia of Sarah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she's trying to find her, and that brings her to the tribes people where she meets Leia, who is also Suf's mother. So she gets into their tribe, and it's like has to be patient while Lila, Leia, whatever, tries to hunt down the
Lia,
story.
yeah.
So fine. But when she comes to the tribe and they ask her, like, oh, tell us your name, child, or whatever, and she said Elar, that is when the book changed for me. And I was like, I hate this. I hate this so much because I think it became really obvious at this point in I guess what is our main storyline now with Quill and Saoirse and what we thought was all at the same time. The Kagari are already attacking. The
Yeah.
Kagari are already following somebody called the Telelisi. Like we knew from Ais's beginning that like Tyrell, who was again that
Wanted to
douchebag
be the
little
Tallahassee.
kid, wanted to be the Telelisi, but obviously it wasn't going to be him. So I think it just like it was too obvious, and then it like tried to red herring it. I don't know. And like you said, the fact that all we knew about Elar was from Quill's perspective, which wasn't, it had nothing to do with time frame. It just talked about how much he loved her, how their last argument, or the last time they talked was an argument because she wanted to come to the capital with him and meet his aunt. And he was like, no, we can't do that. So it sounded like this. Well, I guess then it wouldn't be childhood friends, but it still sounded
No,
like there
but
was
it still
something,
seems like it could be a
a
long-term,
long-term
yeah.
relationship. Yeah. Not somebody, maybe she was his first and he couldn't let it go. Who knows? But actually, probably not because we learned that also Quill is an incredible lover. So, of fucking course. Like,
He
even the
does
fact that
everything.
Ais, like, points that out, or, well, she's the Telelisi, like, the way she's like, I wonder if he's done to Saoirse, like, the sexy things. And she's like, oh, I could tell the way she looks at him that she's felt that pleasure. It's like, okay, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up
Yeah.
about Quill. But yeah, no, the whole book changed for me at that point where I was like, I don't care about her story anymore. I kind of see where this is going. Like, I didn't, the fact that it was like the Mother Div, the empty, the creature, whatever you want to call it, wasn't actually her. Like, I was kind of thinking maybe it embodied her, like took over her
Yeah,
body.
I have thought that
Um,
too.
but no, like the body they found in pieces in the cave was some other watcher, basically,
Yeah.
of this creature. Was which like I guess it was maimed beyond belief, but you're telling me like you're in
I
love
was
with this
wondering
girl
that
more than
too,
anything, and you're like,
especially because the way they described that Watcher person was she was like emaciated and
yeah,
like even if you've got just limbs and stuff. I mean, whatever. I that was annoying for sure.
yeah. I mean, granted, you don't expect to find somebody else in a cavern, I guess, right?
True,
But
true. I
uh,
did want to say too that I think that um Aiza's once we like learn that the timelines are not simultaneous, whatever, they're not in line, um, or the stories are not in line. The IE story for me became more about like learning who Rue was
yeah,
because he was just a precious little kiddo and like totally think that it's valid that there was so much time spent on that because like you had said about the Croatia situation, um, this sort of gave some credence to why everyone was so distraught.
yeah.
And it really sort of drove that home and it like I felt it.
Yeah, I thought the character of Rue, as you're saying, was so well done. It's like not just the fact that he was a little boy, but it was that he was so beloved by his people and like the stories he would tell. Like he was being, I don't know if groom's the right word. I don't know how they choose the
Trained
next
up for,
Kahani, but he
yeah,
was going to be the next storyteller of his tribe. And he was just as like Mother Div says to Ais when they meet, like the boy is the key kind of situation. Like he sees more than the others. So I liked how they made him such a uh, special person. And then I also appreciate the realism of him and Sufyan's relationship because that's an older brother, younger brother situation where you think they're
yeah,
always going to be around. So yeah, they're just a pest and they annoy you.
yeah,
The night Rue's killed, it's Suf's job to make sure he's in bed, and he like tricked him by putting a pillow under there. And like he's like, I was so busy trying to get back to the circle, the fire, or whatever, that like I just assumed it was him. So he carries that guilt, and we see how
yeah,
that is affecting him the whole time. And yeah, like I did appreciate Rue,
yeah.
but it wasn't worth living through Ais for that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I guess it did sort of set the stage for me to completely dislike her. I mean,
Yeah.
later on, when it's like her as the Telelesi, I was like fully entrenched in not liking her, but that
Yeah.
was like the precursor.
And to be fair, like I wonder how that felt to people who had read the other books, because this is where we
Mm.
meet Laia, this is where we meet Elias,
And
uh,
the Empress, yeah.
who are like huge parts of the other series. So maybe it was a little bit of, I don't know, lip service to them or something like that. But I think as just focusing on her story now, Ais's part, like as it moved forward, it just really like you're already annoying me
Yeah.
because I feel like we know where this is going, but now we have to like live through the moments. We have to see her defeat Tyrol, which sets her up for the conquest of the Empire. So we see that, and like she's Rue gets killed because the creature is immediately hungry for innocent and it needs innocence. So that's why it's attacking children and these people, and it eats their fucking hearts like a psycho. So she has that moment, and then she's like, "You can only feed while we're traveling across the empire. Like, I'm not gonna let you feast on the children of Kagar." And then immediately she's like, Tyrell still bests her because he's got more power than her. And this Mother Div creature is like, "Well, if you let me feed on some children, you could definitely overpower them pretty quickly." And she's like, "No, okay, why not?" And so like kills them so she could take like her
The goalpost keeps moving.
yeah, her foundations crumble immediately. And then she like gets the brainwashing in where she's like, well, those are martyrs to our return, because that's the big thing with her people is Mother Div will return and bring them back across the ocean to their original home that they had to flee. So yeah, like every chance she had, she was like, oh no, like she would double down. She was basically a gambler who kept losing $5,000 and was like, I'm gonna bet 10,000 now. And oh, I lost that 20,000. Like and the fact that she kept coming back to like this has to be worth it for Rue's life. It's like I get that he was special. You have now killed hundreds of fucking innocent, like hundreds of innocents through your creatures, through a creature, thousands of innocents through this fucking war that you started.
And that is like absolutely the direct opposite of a good way to remember Rue. Like he would not
Yeah.
want that. Like that would be like you're not doing anything for Rue's memory in that regard. I also think that um it is super annoying that the goalpost keeps moving. It's annoying that her what seemed her conviction about her faith in Mother Div was like so easily changed.
Yeah.
Um And I think that there was like at least maybe not a one-liner, maybe a couple of times it was mentioned that the creature that she ends up releasing was like used to be Mother Div and there was like a curse put upon her and that feels very much like a cop out
Yeah.
or like a lie, like a straight up like that's not.
And it was. And like the thing that annoyed me was multiple, like at least twice I remember she calls out the creature for saying like your people. And it's like
Yes.
Mother Div would say our people, right?
Yes.
and still not enough to pull her out of it. Not enough
Yeah.
to like again because she's got to make it worth it for Rue's life, so she's gonna just keep fucking killing these people. And also like again with her the way she was raised, the greed, the want for power. Now she has tasted it. Now she is like really digging into it. So yeah, her I don't I was a little bit interested in her storyline as she was dealing with the prison and she became like the voice or the prophet of the tour or whatever they called it, like the prison where she was like speaking the sacred tales because they have
Oh,
the eight
yeah.
sacred
Oh my God,
tales.
I forgot all about that.
I was like, okay, maybe we're building her up into this like cult like mythological
Like a
figure.
prophet-y kind of
Yeah,
thing.
maybe Mother Div really is speaking to her. So I was like, okay, all right, yeah, she's got to like, Jesus went into the desert and came back kind of situation. She's got to like go off and then she'll come back with Mother Div and whatever. But then all that went away as soon as she becomes Elar. And
Yeah.
her whole fucking storyline killed me. Just
Yeah.
absolutely fucking killed me every time we came back to it. So yeah.
Agreed.
Let's move on to the other two. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
questions were kind of weird here because I feel like it's just we just talk about certain aspects of it, their storylines, whatever, and then it all comes together in the end. So for Quill and Saoirse, what I wanted to focus on was their relationship, but we can talk about their journey as well here. I was wondering what you thought of that as it grew, and we watched them hunt together. How much you enjoyed or didn't enjoy Saoirse and Quill the more we got to spend time with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall I did enjoy it. I think like um the I don't want to call it forced proximity because it's not exactly right, but they got themselves into this situation where they're having to basically pretend to be married or betrothed or whatever, um, to save Saoirse's life, which was like a pretty big step to take and a pretty like final and irreversible, well, I guess it's not, but whatever. A pretty intense step to take for somebody, but it totally tracks because Quill is very like, I must save a life.
Yeah,
Um, but their chemistry I thought was believable. I think that overall, like it was fine that they went and hunted alone, but I kind of liked the four of them together better.
yeah,
Especially because Sufjan and Aurelia like seemed to kind of befriend her quickly.
yeah,
And she obviously was reluctant, like we were talking about before. Like she keeps people at arm's length for a variety of reasons, but then at one point realizes that like they are actually her friends and she does care about them. And I appreciate that. So if they could have all been together, I think I would have maybe appreciated it more because I would have preferred that to like the sexy times that happened, um, which were not terrible. I
no,
mean,
and they were brief. I didn't have to cover
yeah,
my eyes too long.
yeah. So I think it it seemed like natural and it wasn't one of those like, oh, I don't know if he likes me, but I really
Yeah.
like him. And I hate that in YA in particular, but I hate it in anything. And so there wasn't that. I mean, yes, there was like I should probably deny these feelings, but
Yeah.
that's a little bit easier to stomach than like whiny, whatever.
Yeah, I will say there was definitely parts I really enjoyed. Not the sexy parts, but
Mm.
I liked like the parts beyond that. Because again, like this is what upsets me. I don't think I've made this point in quite a few episodes,
Mhm.
probably dozens. So welcome to original Russ's ranting about especially YA. The we met, we fucked, we're in love, right? I appreciated that there were those moments where, especially as Quill is taking care of her after the creature attacks them and they're not sure what's going on with Saoirse, and they meet Loli Temba, and he's sitting with her and he like accidentally goes into her memory and kind of sees how broken she is. He doesn't see what she did to become an outcast, but she sees her afterwards when
The
Loli was
ramifications,
like
yeah.
bringing her back and telling her how much she loved her, even if her
Yeah.
people didn't anymore. And then his like mantra to her became like, "You're not alone. I'm with you." And like I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked that they had that he was able to share that she knew where that was coming from, even without knowing exactly where it's coming from, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that side of it, which made it feel deeper. I liked the idea of what was the oath called? The Ada oath
Yeah, the coin.
that they take, and they have a coin now connected to them
Yes.
for their oath, and how it starts off as like a dull piece of metal, but like as the more they connect, the more intricate it becomes. The more intricate it becomes, the further apart they can get while still holding to their oath. Like I really appreciated that side of it. And even as like Saoirse especially knows, like the more intricate this gets, the harder it's going to be to break. Like we could
Yeah.
break it, but it's going to be painful,
Yeah.
and difficult to get somebody to actually do it because it was all under false pretenses. But still, like she still couldn't help building up those feelings where it was more than just his square jaw and how
Mhm.
fucking perfect his body was.
Well, and it wasn't just like physical intimacy that relates to the coin. Like it's them caring for each other, fighting for each other, like learning about each other. And that I think, yeah, that coin thing was really cool. It's a really neat concept. And I liked how she had had some experience with the breaking of one or the with Jityan, and I think that kind of made their coin and how quickly it was gaining
Yeah.
all the more impressive because like Jayan and her had known each other since they were kids, and so it was like obviously there's a really strong connection. So yeah, I think um yeah, that was a really neat concept.
Yeah. It was still frustrating how long it took them to like become completely honest with each other. And I don't even know if they
Yeah.
technically were at the end, where like Quill finally comes forward about his magic to her after the failed attempt on both the Telelisi and Mother Div there. Uh, and again, like his magic to me felt like a bit of a cop out where it was like his empathy. And I forget exactly what he is, right? But Saoirse's like, he's this, which
It's
is
so
such a
rare.
rare fucking magic in this world. It's like a fucking course it is, because even Quill has to do that fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
Um, so I like I didn't love that became like those kind of feelings he had, those like intuition he had. There was like that magical being behind it. Like I feel like that took away from their moments together a little bit. Not to say that that's all it was, but like the fact that like we had to hear Saoirse say so many times, the fact that he grabbed me and like even though I was portraying that I didn't want it, but it was exactly what I wanted, or the way he did this to me, which was exactly what to do in that moment. Like I felt like that was coming from his ability to kind of like see inside of her mind as like a passive way,
Right.
without actually delving into it. So it was, I don't know. It wasn't the worst relationship we've ever seen for sure. Like you said, there wasn't that will they, won't they. It was mostly like, hey, we're gonna bang, but not like get feelings. And I was like, fuck, we got feelings. Shocker. But and that also like upset me again as we learned the truth about Elar, how fucking Quill was so
Wait.
like pushing back against it. And then it was then we learned Elar was like like even their intimacy was like what, a couple weeks maybe? Because like
Yeah.
he knew her for what, 3 or 4 months, but like 2 of those months he was gone. So what the, or not even that, like it wasn't even that long. So like, dude,
Yeah.
get over it, bro. Fuck. Hey.
Agreed.
She did save his life once though, so
But also,
whatever.
like, just Saoirse's so much better.
She is so much better. And again, in case you missed it earlier, Quill, of course, is an incredible lover. So
Oh yeah.
even has that
Obviously.
going for it. The boy has everything.
Hmm.
Just while we're here, let's touch on Sufyan and Aurelia. What did you think of those two? As you were saying, it was kind of more enjoyable as it was a quintuplet,
Yeah.
quartet. There you go. It kind of because we're getting those other people that we're not dealing strictly in a relationship with. So what did you think of those two?
I liked them. Sufjan and Quill's relationship is really great. Aurelia's really cool. She's like, I just pictured her as like somebody with like always is dirty from like figuring out how an engine works or like,
Yeah.
just she's very smart and resourceful. Um, and both of them are very loyal, and I really like that. I was a little bit annoyed at the end how there were some hints that maybe they liked each other, and I was like, that just feels like an annoying why everybody has to pair up
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Everyone
Um,
find a dance partner.
yeah, so I appreciate that they didn't go like too heavy on that. But they did all seem like a really good group together, like good
Yeah,
team.
I appreciated that Suf was still trying to get over his brother's death. And again,
Yeah,
carrying the guilt of like he should have checked on him, he should have been
right.
paying more attention to him. Again, the fact that he treated him like an older brother because he thought he had a long time with him. He took his little brother for granted. And then
Yeah.
when he was gone, he felt like it was partially his fault. All understandable. Like I liked that he was still dealing with that and he would like come in and out of it. Again,
Mhm.
give me a realistic character any day of the week. They don't have to be perfect. I'd rather
Yeah.
that. So, and I liked how Quill, like with their long-standing relationship of basically brothers because of how they've been raised together in their own way, he is trying to like get him out of it. But I guess that was his one fault where like he even mentioned something about like Rue dying or something, or like he mentions like, oh, you have your sisters and your brother,
Yeah.
forgetting that Rue was dead in that moment, that heated moment, whatever, and
Mhm.
they get into an argument about it. And like
Yeah.
Quill, like that one moment where they decide to split the party, and Quill's like, I've never done this, but as your prince, I command you to fucking go to Encana without me. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Quill. Stop it. Stop it. You're being bad. As far as really, yeah, you hit her nail on the head. Like just such a perfect secondary character of just that
Mhm.
gearhead who is also there to like kind of hit those two on the head. Like the
Yeah.
the the smart one that's like, hey, stop fighting. We need to run
We
from the
gotta
bad
go do
guys
this
right now.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, you didn't fucking pick up the supplies, so I did because you both are fucking useless.
What a woman.
Yeah, you're both dumb men. So yeah, there's a lot I appreciate about her. Just again, I think as the four of them were together, it gave such good levels to the relationships where it just wasn't focused solely on Quill and Saoirse. That we had the other two, and like you said, the other two really took to Saoirse right off the bat, and made her feel more included.
And I do appreciate with a quartet like that how different things are brought to the table. Like Aurelia's skill with, I don't know, problem solving and whatnot, and Sufjan's healing and all of that. So I think that's a nice, like, well-rounded. I said that they were great sidekicks.
Yeah, they are. It worked out really well. I do think, as we can talk about in the ending, that Quill could like tell him more about what's going on, and maybe that was just to keep the readers in suspense as we
Yeah.
move up to the trap that he set. Like they seem so taken off guard by that. That seemed a little silly, but
Yeah.
anyway, moving into that. So, what did you think of our ending with Saoirse sacrificing herself, Sif killing (parentheses but not killing) Ais and Sero, and Quill returning home because that's what he's gonna do.
I was annoyed that
Yeah,
I mean, I liked Zero. I didn't necessarily want him to die. I thought it would actually have been really interesting if like he kind of took over the mantle of leadership for his people because he's actually a good person.
yeah,
Um, but I was annoyed that um the fight was like it seemed pretty tough, like it seemed like things weren't going great for our team. Um, and it would have been satisfying to have Ais die because she's annoying.
yep.
So I guess on the one hand it's good that it's not Bose where she dies, but I also found it frustrating that they survived.
I feel like it's more Bose that she lives. I don't know. Like it was,
Especially because like it didn't really make sense to me. Like,
yeah.
oh, she just like was I I didn't even realize that I healed you. I healed you in my sleep.
I
Oh,
healed me and you. Look
oh
at these
man.
arrows that aren't in me and the multiple
But
like,
also how? Because like
dude.
don't you if Div isn't connected to her anymore, how does she have power? Like I just
And it wasn't like Suf took it easy on her. He was like
no.
fucking aggressively
He was
for Rue,
taking
dagger
out,
stabbing
yeah.
all over the torso. Yeah, that made zero sense to me,
It did.
which was how you say frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. I don't know if that's just how you set it up for the other part of the duology, which again, if you haven't even released a name, like how well thought out is this? I don't know, not an author. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
But it was just like you're saying, like even if Sarah lived and tried to like take on the mantle, like his people aren't gonna follow. Like the reason they follow Ais is because she had that incredible display where
Divine
she
intervention.
killed Tyrell and like really claimed herself as something. So like Sarah's not gonna get away with that. I think Sarah could be the one that is like the bridge between them and the Empire. Like he,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah. But then I don't know if his people listen to him. Like it's all like I don't know where do we go from here because like it's like the Empress is not going to forgive the Kagari for what they've done. They have
No.
decimated her cities. They have killed many, many children, including like the next generation of masks, who we didn't even really talk about, but they're like trained to fight from birth, and they get that weird molten metal put on their face in a mask and whatever. And the last thing
And
Ais does when she
is
has
kill
the
them.
power of Mother Div before falling for this trap is kills like 2 dozen of them, and they're like very explicit in telling you they're like 13 to 14-year-old children that she is just fucking
Annihilating.
what the executing, like
Yeah.
literally holding them on the ground with her wind and killing them. Sick, dude. Yeah, no, they're really gonna want to come to like the treaty table with you there. So
Yeah.
I just don't understand like what the point of that is. And as you said, like Ice has lost her connection to the creature, to Mother Div, so she has no power left, but somehow still has enough power to save both her and Sarah. But then she even talks about like how like she feels clear for the first time since Rue's death, right? Because she was under this mystical spell. It's just yeah, it's so much frustration. If she shows her fucking face anywhere, like Helene will kill her, or Elias will kill her, or fucking Quill will kill her probably. Like,
It
why?
feels to be like, oh, I'm relieved of this burden of the evilness that Mother Div was making me perpetuate. I feel like it's such a cop out. Like
Hmm,
I get it. You were probably blinded by your hunger for power or whatever, but like you still made these choices. That's something that in the couple of chapters we got of Sarah, I found interesting how he was basically like, I love this woman and she is unrecognizable.
yeah.
And like you can't really come back from that.
Yeah. I mean, he might forgive you,
Right.
be happy that you're still around, but like he's gonna do the same thing he told
But
you.
also you did all those
Yeah,
things.
yeah, he probably wants you to fade into obscurity with him, and like maybe you guys can own a farm somewhere and
Maybe.
change everything
Or
about.
I honestly I hope he leaves her.
I just don't
Hope
yeah.
he gives up on her. I mean, like I think she deserves that.
But this
Um,
is like literally a few chapters before this, he was begging for this to happen. So like he has gotten what he wanted.
yeah.
It's just a
Oh, for
question of
Div
like,
to be unconnected.
yeah,
Yeah.
how much he's gonna say, oh no, that was Div, that wasn't you, and like
Right.
we'll see, I guess. Because I think a big part with Ais will be like, now that she's lost that power, it doesn't mean she's still not greedy for it. So we'll
Yeah, yeah. Maybe she's gonna look for some other method to
doesn't sound like
get
her.
back. No.
Psych.
I think that I was also a little frustrated by Saoirse and Div being on this beach together. Like the way that Saoirse learned from whatever element was like you have to basically like you're sacrificing yourself, which like effectively she did. She's traded places
Yeah.
with Aiz. And maybe that's like a misinterpretation of the elements telling whatever. Um, but it just like also was kind of annoying because it
Yeah.
feels like the setup for the next book is more of the same.
Or it's the hunt for Saoirse is what it's gonna
Right. Or
be.
that. Yeah.
Because like it's like Quill and it all just fell kind of flat, right? Like the
Yeah.
last three chapters are a chapter of each of them. And like I even had to go back and like look at Quill's be like, wait, what did he do at the end? Oh, he got
Yeah,
told like
he's went back to the Empire
yeah,
because
and Leia Leia told him that like she was the original storyteller
yeah.
of the story, right? Cool, I don't care. Um, but like the big
Well,
part for
oh,
him is like the oath coin is still there. So
right.
he like knows, he feels that Saoirse is still alive. So it's like adding a little bit to that. So it's like we don't know where she is, but I feel like that's gonna be his focus. Is trying to because like what are the Kagari gonna do without the Telelisi? Like I don't know. I don't know what happens next, and I don't know how you get people interested in that.
So I'm looking back. So did Laia of Sarah tell Quill that she was like the person who first told the story, which means that she's the first Durrani, the one that trapped Mother Div there?
I
Because like
don't I don't know. I think she mentioned that she was hunting a story and she eventually wrote it down. I don't think she was the first Durrani. I think she was the one that found the story of the first Durrani.
but the literally like her says, let me tell you of the first Durrani, the first Chaos storyteller, me.
Oh, well, I guess so then.
Well, so
But
like then that just begs the question, like, was Mother Div ever really good? And like,
well,
because the way that the story that Aiz has is Mother Div was like captured and the first Durrani cursed her, right?
so right, but I don't think this creature is actually Mother Div
Okay.
at
So
all.
they're not the same thing.
No. So what I think happened is that book. So and Leia, God, I fucking give me a name. Would just Laia people.
She's a
So
liar.
give me like I need another consonant in there. So
Yeah.
um for her, and she even says there like I forgot all about this until like
Yeah.
a week ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So like when that bond is broken, when the creature is wherever it is now, she remembers that she is responsible for this. And like we saw the creature use that power when Ais or Elar at the time had shown the book, she was able to like erase the memory of the two Kahani, one of them being Leia, that she was with. So um, I can understand that maybe she forgot it, but as far as the book is concerned, I think the book was showing Ais what she wanted. So I think the whole like it being the ninth sacred tale or
Pale.
whatever was just the creature filling the pages. Because even when she like
It was empty
reads,
later.
yeah, it's empty later, and like the creature says like, "Oh, you have to read the book" or something like that. And she's like, "I already know the words," and then she opens it, and it's a different. It's only one paragraph, and it's
Yeah.
different than anything she's ever
Yeah.
said. So I think that the creature was never Mother Div. It was just
The
filling
thing
that
that
void for
Aiz
her
needed to hear to,
to
yeah.
free it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I
That
think
makes sense.
so. I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe we'll see. But also, like, the problem is what's going to happen is instead of Ais tracing down this story to figure out how to free Mother Div, it's going to be Quill chasing down this
Chasing
story to figure out how
Saoirse.
to free Saoirse.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. I don't know if I have like the power to do that.
Well, it
Honestly,
doesn't feel like that much of a, I'm kind of like a, I don't really care.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, honestly, I feel like the more we talk about it, the more you go back. Like, again, reading this, you're like, okay, like, yeah, it's frustrating at times, but you're just like, whatever. And then again, wondering how this would hold up if it wasn't a podcast book where
Mm.
you don't have to put this much thought into it, because
Yeah.
that's really what's fucking hurting it is going back and being like, oh, well, this, and oh, yeah,
Yeah, that's
this, and
true.
oh, yeah, that. Yeah, a little interesting. I will echo what you said to start that. The fact that Saoirse's sacrifice isn't a sacrifice, or I mean, it is, but in a different way. The fact that she's still alive is frustrating.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, you know me. I don't mind a main character death, especially when it's like a noble sacrifice.
Yeah.
So that was a weird way to end it. We touched on it before. Like I feel like with 50 more pages, you could have made this a standalone novel. If Ais is dead, uh, whatever you want to do with Sarah, if he doesn't die, like even Sarah's death, like it was just like, oh, she looks over and sees he has two arrows, and I'm like, when the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, I agree.
Poor Sarah. Maybe he becomes the whatever, the politician for the Kagari. You
Mm.
could clean that up. Seriously sacrifice herself, but like now we're into rebuilding. We're doing whatever we can with the Kagari to send them back because their leader's dead and the story's over. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how you pull this into a duology. I don't know how much I
I'm not
care.
convinced.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and like again, I will say it didn't take me like looking back on the book to be kind of disappointed with the ending. Like that happened as I was
In the
reading.
moment. Yeah, I
Yeah.
finished and I was like, oh,
Oh yeah. And like even
okay.
just having those last like the last three chapters, one for each character, was all like 2 to 3 pages long, which I feel
Yeah,
like was just like a little teaser, and like none of it teased me. I was just like, I don't. This sucks.
agreed.
Anyway, rough, rough, rough. So on that note, for additional spoilers, I had only put other character names down. We kind of touched on stuff on Aurelia on Rue. And did you want to talk about any of the others? Elias, Helene, Tass, Saro?
I mean, the older generation, like the Elias, Laia and Helene, I think if I'd read the other books, probably would be like it'd be cool to see them in this with like
Yeah.
less of an important role kind of thing. Elias sounds like such a badass that I honestly was considering reading the other ones just to see
Just
how
for
much
him.
of a badass he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and The only other one that I want to mention is Ji-young because I liked him and it was quite a bummer when he died. I was like, oh, okay, so we're gonna lose somebody, but of course
Yeah.
it's that.
Well, and it reminded me of the anytime you see like a action movie or something, there's like always that extra person, right?
The red shirt.
Yeah, the red shirt. Or yeah, we're gonna bring, oh, you're gonna come along too. Why? Because we need somebody to kill. So obviously, like in that little party that they form, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be Quill, it's not gonna be Saoirse, it's not gonna be Saoirse's sister, because
Oh,
they
Ritzwana, it could have, I would have loved that because she's freaking annoying.
everyone will love that, but of course it wasn't gonna happen. So yeah, just left Gian there. And I do appreciate that he still stood up for her and he did give like a
Yeah.
little glimpse back at like his conversations with Saoirse let her know that like her sister is losing her magic and
Yeah.
doesn't have as strong of a foothold. And like her sister is older and always disliked Saoirse because she was born with so much more magic than her and was like the everyone's favorite. Where Rizwana, I think was her name.
Ritzwana, yeah, Ritzwana and Maiz would be good partners in
Yeah, they
shitty
could
quest for power.
kitty friends together. Yeah, so that was tough, but I don't think I ever expected Gian to live. As far as Elias, he reminds me of what was his name? I mean, I did like the Bloody Nine in the Blade itself.
Mm,
Logan, Logan Nine
yeah.
Fingers, except maybe without the crazy alter ego that is a bloodluster. Like
Oh, that
just
was
kind of how I imagined him as
yeah.
he saves Saoirse in the beginning
Mm.
by pulling her up and then like gives her this deal to go hunt this monster. I just picture that kind of like dirty, rugged traveler who's older, who is like tired, but like still has like quests
He's
to
on
fulfill
top of his
and
game.
can show, yeah, like in
Yeah.
a flash, don't
Yeah.
underestimate him kind of
Yeah.
situation. So, yeah, if it wasn't 4 books, maybe.
Yeah, same. Agreed. I mean, I
uh,
said only considering. Like I'm
yeah,
not jumping out at it.
fair. And then Tass was like
Mm.
kind of older role model, a little too playboy for me,
Yeah.
like loving that spy life a little too much, maybe like this version of James Bond, as he does his own thing. But
Yeah.
I liked that. I liked his relationship with Quill as well. Like it was very similar to Suf's, but it gave him
Like
somebody
the
to look
older
up to.
brother.
Yeah, exactly. Like an older brother or younger uncle kind of
Yeah.
situation. Somebody that treats you like a fucking human
Yes.
instead of like the prince and the heir,
Yes.
or looks at you and sees your father, who was a terrible
Right.
fucking person, that kind of
Right.
shit. So I liked it. We only got a little taste of him, kind of really, but I did enjoy his parts to a point. A little
Totally.
bit too much of a playboy. You know, I'm not cool with that stuff. Be cool, Task. Just be cool.
Just be cool.
Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
Um, no, I don't think so.
I thought I had something that popped up, but I don't remember, so it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, again, I'd be interested to know how this book felt if it wasn't a podcast book. If I just gave you a
Yeah,
1 minute rundown of it, it was like, hey, I saw this book, I read it, here's what I thought. But
I think you're right. I think we look at it way more critically
yeah.
than I would just like a regular read. I think for like the YA aspect of it, it holds up decently to some better than some of the other ones we've read, you know.
And to be fair, like that Brandon Sanderson series I just started, also YA, and like
Oh
I had
yeah.
struggled with that too. Like some of it is just that we are not the target audience. And like
Yeah.
sometimes it
We
works.
are old adults,
Yeah,
not
but
young adults.
sometimes it works where it works for both, and sometimes you're looking at it and you're like, I get that you're doing this for the kids, but my God, do we have to do all of this for the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, with that, we are going to move out of spoilers and moving out of spoilers, but not yet away from the book. We have to give it our grade. This is based on the D&D D20 scale. So 1 is bad, 20 is good. Then we add or subtract a characteristic, modifier, ability, or skill from the game Dungeons and Dragons that we think best fits this story. We alternate every episode, and this time it is Taja's turn to go first. So Taja, what did you give this on the dice?
Okay, so I did bring it down a little bit while we were talking. I'm giving it a straight roll of 16 though, because that um I still think it holds up as a story, a fun fantasy story. I think mostly because there were characters that were pretty great. Her sort of society building, I guess I'd say, rather than world building, was really impressive. Um, and there were some bits of the magic system that are really cool. And I I think that um I don't know. Now I'm feeling like that's still a little too high. Anyway, whatever. We're sticking with it. And I'm giving it a +1 for religion. Because I think that it's an interesting showcasing of sort of the troubles that like blind faith can get you into, or like belief without, um, I don't know, not, I mean,
Blind
she,
faith. I mean,
yeah,
you're taking this whatever, this voice in your head.
yeah, she tells you she's Mother Div and you just believed it
Sounds
and
good. I don't know who
did
else could do
stuff,
this in our magical world.
right? And then you did stuff that was like completely antithetical to your Mother Div's message and your own moral compass and all this stuff. And I just feel like the corrupting influence of that was bad.
Bad, but we're gonna give it positive points.
Well, because I think it was like a good showing of it.
Yeah.
I think it
Well,
was,
that's fair.
well, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I do.
yes, it was bad for like the story or whatever, like bad consequences, but I think that it was portrayed well.
Yeah.
And that the I don't know, it was sort of not like a cautionary tale, but a little bit of like a uh, here's somebody that didn't do it right.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
don't always believe what you see or hear.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like on the other hand, there's Saoirse who like is very strong in her like this is who I am and that kind of thing. I don't know. I just am waffling quite a lot. It's a 17. I'm gonna stop talking.
Nice. Um, for everything, the waffling included. For me, it was funny because when you said I'm going to take points away from this, I expected a lower number because
I know.
I'm going to take points away from this as well, even more through our talking. I'm only going to take a point away. But for me on the dice roll, I'm going to give it a 13. And kind of similar to what you said, I think like if you're not really attacking this and uh, getting into the weeds with it, like as you read it, it's a fine story.
It's fun. It was a
Yeah,
fun read.
it's
Like,
pretty quick. There are some things that stand out, but like overall, like I don't think Ais's storyline, I would have felt the same way even if we weren't covering it for the
yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
But
totally.
maybe you're not digging as deeply into the other characters and being like, oh, well, this and that. Okay, I don't really
Yeah.
appreciate whatever. So yeah, I think that there's a reason that I'm sure there's a lot of people that like this. For the people who have read the other four
Mm,
books, like I'm sure it kind of feels like coming home. Like Raymond Feist was big on that. Like his world was always Midkemia, and like every set of four just went to a new generation, and they would
yeah.
come back to those, be like, "Oh, remember Jimmy the Hand?" It's like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah, it's like Tortal too, like Tamara Tortal.
Exactly. Yeah. So you see those characters that you grew up with are now
Yeah.
growing up too. Like obviously different time frame for us, but anyway. So yeah, I can see why people would enjoy this. There were definitely parts I liked to it. Again, the peoples and how in depth she went with the different races and everything like that, I thought were very interesting and a strong point for it. I'm going to give this a -1 for wisdom
Oof.
because people are dumb. And like it just really upset me that throughout this whole thing, every single person was concerned about their people. Like everything Ais did, even as the Talisi was for her people, and like even when she was hurting her people, it was for her people. Like she kept making
Excuses.
excuses for it, and like everything Quill was doing was about his people, and it's like, okay, but like maybe you should have seen this monster at your doorstep and done something about it. And I know he's like whatever, but his aunt should have done something. Like somebody should have done something. Obviously
Yeah.
this was a powder keg set to explode, so
Nice.
what are we doing here? I think that's the second time I've done Hamilton in 2 episodes. Anyway, it was just really annoying that I felt like there should have been more diplomacy. I felt like there should have been more like people looking out for each other. And again, to be fair, in our own world, we don't do that, as
Three
we
facts.
fucking fuck our neighbors and everybody else in a neighborhood and also in a world sense. So I guess it's just not a good mirror that I want to see of the world. But
Fair.
it was just, I don't know, I didn't love it. And
Wow, we have a
um,
big spread on this one.
we do. And then even like with Tyrell and how he treated the clerics, like the fact that he thought he would just like his people who are already like down in the shit, starving and everything else. He's like, I'm gonna make it worse and you're gonna love me. Like it felt like there's a lot of people doing dumb things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be a 12 overall for me. And I'm
Ooh.
feeling this way, like dude, I don't know if I should stop rating things on Goodreads because I was like, this is kind of a
Yeah, you gave it 4.
I know, I was like, this is kind of a 3-star book for me. To be fair, I was gonna give it a 14 before this, but I was like, I don't know, it's like 3.5, so I'll give it 4.
Yeah, I usually do round up with the
Yeah,
stars.
I just don't want people. Nobody's reading my shit, but I don't want them to yell at me.
Just
If
me
you're
and Meg.
getting a 5, I mean it. Otherwise, it's pretty much always a 4. Like if they give you a 3, it's a 2. If it's a 4, it could be a 4 or a 3. I won't give a 1. I'll just
Unless
not
your
read your
mom.
book. Like it's messy. So anyway, yeah, actual math here. That's a 14.5 overall from us. So I think it depends on what you're into. Like again, I think if you read a lot of YA and enjoy it, if you like that, you're not going to put like a ton of thought into it afterwards. I think this is a great book for that. But like if you're looking to dig your nails into something and like really dig deep into something, I don't know if this is the story for you. So we kind of touched on it before. I'm not I mean, it's not out, so you couldn't, but like, I don't really see myself continuing this story. And as we were touching on, like, even with the idea of seeing how dreamy Elias is, I don't think that I'm going to pick up the
Same.
other works either. So yeah. So we're going to move away from the book, but we're not quite done yet. So hang in there, folks, as we get into our segments. And we start with current selection. What else have you been reading? Which I'm sure will be a very long section for Taja as she has lived in her Turkish stories.
Yeah, so I haven't really read much. Before I started this book, I had started the Murder Bot number 5. And I'm only a little bit into that because I read this book and then the stories have eaten up
This
60 something hours of my life.
nice. For me, I mean, I haven't been reading as much either. I did finish Starsight, which was the book 2 of the Skyward series, which is a 4-book series by Brandon Sanderson. I will say, like, it was just okay. It really wasn't grabbing me, and kind of like what I just referenced. I think we're still in spoilers. For those of you who came back after, like YA, it's tough for me. Like, there's some that I do enjoy because, again, I think you can do it right where it fits both, but sometimes you like
You
it.
fall into the traps, I think.
Yeah, and like it feels a little dumbed down sometimes. And like honestly, with that one, it was more just like I didn't really care where our story was going.
Mm.
You know, like the first book was about like human survival on their planet, and this one
Mm.
was more like, okay, now we're branching out into the universe, and that was it just didn't really hit with me. So I was like, I don't know. And I only had those 2 books anyway, so that's like the decision point. And like I do this when I'm reading other series where it's like, okay, like halfway through that book, it's like, okay, am I going to buy the next ones or not?
Right.
Because let's get those on order so I can like
Yeah.
go here. And I think that's one thing that I learned from last year going through those series and trying to close out a bunch of them was just knowing when to cut bait because sometimes if it's not working for you, it's not working for you. So stop
Yeah.
digging yourself in the hole. And that's also why like it's like, oh, I bought books 1 and 2. Like that's okay. Don't buy all 4 books at once.
Right,
Because then
right.
I
You
feel like
gotta,
I need to read
what
it.
if you don't like it?
Yeah. I did that last year with that. Yeah, anyway, it was the Moonfall series or something like that. The second book, I was like, oh, I don't know, but I already have the third book, so I might as well read that. And then the third book, I was like, God damn it!
Yeah.
But yeah, and now I'm about 100 pages in. I've gone back to old friend Frederick Backman with Britt Marie was here.
Oh, my
So
coworker just read that, said it was really good.
it's interesting. I'm 100 pages in. I mean, Britt Marie, we remember her from my grandmother told me to tell you I'm sorry or asked me to say that she's sorry or whatever. And it's dealing with her life after that, after the divorce with Kent. And
Okay.
it's just I have like 3 different people now that we've met, including Britt Marie, who have a very specific like mannerism, where she like says "ha" a lot, and
Uh-oh, you don't
now
like that.
Now there's a policeman that's like, of course. And there's somebody else named somebody because she hasn't learned her name yet who has her own tick.
Oh
So
boy.
it's like digging through that and like we're getting to the part where it's starting to get like emotional, I'm
So
sure.
my coworker said that it was like a mix between anxious people and remarkably bright creatures. Have you read
Interesting.
that one?
I still haven't read
It's so
Remark.
good. You
Yeah, I
should.
like always look for it. I'm like, I refuse to pay full price for things. I'm such
That's
a
fair.
stickler. And I feel like that one, there's so many copies that I should be able to find it.
I would think so. But yeah, that was an interesting combination of things. I was
Yeah.
like, there's an octopus?
Not yet. There is a
No,
rat.
a rat.
So,
That's what
yeah.
she said that was a rat.
A
Yeah.
little bit of Sipsworth, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll see where that one goes. I'm sure it's going to pull on the heartstrings as we go. It's been
I
like,
mean, it's a Frederick Bachman, so of
yeah.
course it will.
Again, so many just looking at my shelf being like, oh my God, I've got to read these books. But yeah, I've also kind of been taking a step back lately on different things. But moving on, we have our random recommendation. And this is one that actually you recommended to me a long time ago, as we are really digging into the archives here, folks, to bring you these random recommendations, as it's a segment that we refuse to let go of, unlike our shout out of the episode that died very quickly.
Very.
Very quickly. So this book is The Anomaly by Michael Rutger. And what I wrote on Twitter, April 10th, 2021, so even before the podcast started,
Oh, yeah.
it's an exciting, suspenseful thriller that keeps you guessing as to what the heck is going on and who will survive. Great writing, fast-paced, and a good read. I will say, like reading it, I remember thinking like, oh, it's kind of like I think it was like a little bit like Indiana Jones or like
Mm,
some of that like just archaeologists looking for something and then like coming across something they weren't expecting. A little bit of there was definitely sci-fi involved in it too, but
hmm
I've never read anything else by them. But that was just something that really grabbed my attention. So
Nice.
Tasha nods.
I
So
don't
yeah,
I don't have anything else to add because it was so long
it
ago that
was
I read it.
even longer than 5 years ago for Tasha. So yeah, again, it's The Anomaly by Michael Rutger. It's also like a shorter-ish book too, so
Yeah, it
something
was
you can really
long.
get into. And I remember it like picking up right away. So
Yeah.
check that out. And on that note, we means we have one last piece of business to get to, which is what's on the next podcast. This is one that I came across in my Goodreads. Hey, we think you should read this kind of situation that happened that we found a few different books in. So this, we don't know anything going into it. So hopefully it's good. The book is The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. There is that. The little blurb I'm going to steal from the back is deliciously creepy, a chilling blend of mystery and ghost story that will thrill fans of both. So definitely maybe a little horror, a little thriller coming back to like real timeline, like our whatever,
Mm.
not fantasy, which is why we chose to do Air in between to give us a break on that. And yeah, so we'll get into that next time. Again, it's The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. So with that, it means this is done, folks. So the 111 episode of the only binary, no, last episode was binary. Anyway, the 111th episode of the ABC Pod is now officially over. This is then the ABC Pod, the Dog Book Club with Taja and Russell.
Keep reading.